Hello everyone, it's a beautiful day here at the BYU Family History Library. Thanks for joining us today. This is the first in a series of videos on how to use United States and United Kingdom census records. We'll be focusing on early United States census records today. So what is a census? A census is an official count or survey of a population, typically recording various details of individuals. So why does the United States take a census every 10 years? There are many reasons, and census questions vary from year to year. Census enumeration helps determine political representation and taxation. Some questions are influenced by political policy, such as immigration, migration, economic gains, veteran status, and the value of real estate. Questions can also be influenced by social policy, such as health, mortality, and education. Here are a few reasons beginning researchers avoid these early United States censuses, and some reasons why we shouldn't overlook them. The first one is not everyone is named on early United States Census records. But we should remember that almost everyone should have been counted. They may be counted within a family member's home or within an employer's household. The second one is the censuses are often a confusing jumble of hash marks. It is true printed United States Census forms were not provided to the census enumerators until 1830. You will see some censuses before 1830 with written or printed column headings, but those are the exceptions and not the rule. Using blank census forms to identify column headings and abstract information is invaluable. These blank census forms can be downloaded on the United States National Archives website at the address given on the screen. The third is that people are under the misconception that little information can be gleaned from these early United States Census records. Hopefully, we will change your mind about that today. Let's get into some hints, hacks, and clues about these early census records. Our first hint is to look at both pages of the census for the 1820, 1830, and 1840 census. Imagine them as the mirror pages in a book, and each page has unique information on it. If you don't look at that second page in the 1840 census, you may miss out on proof that your ancestor served in the Revolutionary War. In this example, Joseph Marshall is listed with his exact age of 82, making his birth year 1758. How often do we find information like that? Another clue is that Joseph Marshall, the veteran, is living with Freeman Robertson. Is Freeman a son, a grandson, a son-in-law, or another relative? It's something to follow up on. Our next hint is to make sure that you're paying attention to every single column and the information it provides. An often overlooked column in the 1820 and 1830 census is the foreigners not yet naturalized column. In this 1820 example, the census indicates Robert McDougall had not yet naturalized. If we locate Robert in the 1830 census and he was no longer marked as a foreigner not yet naturalized, it may be that during that previous decade, Robert may have completed the naturalization process, and we can search for available naturalization records. Of course, Robert may not have reported his naturalization status to the census taker, or the census taker may not have asked, but this is a clue that we definitely want to follow up on. Understanding the political climate can help you understand why certain questions were asked. The War of 1812 had ended just 5 years before the 1820 census, and the United States government was interested in the number of military-aged men to help them prepare for other military conflicts that may occur. This census can also trip up researchers. So here's another hint. If you look at this census, the columns that are circled are the white males of 10 and under 16, from 16 to 18, and from 16 to 25. At first glance, it appears that Mrs. Elizabeth Bleecker has 4 males living in her home between the ages of 10 and 25. However, the young man that's marked in the 16 to 18 column was also recorded in the 16 to 25 column. So Mrs. Bleecker only had 3 males living in her home. As always, look for neighbors with the same surname or other familiar surnames. Also, look for multi-generational households. In this example, the household of Francis Elliott appears to have a young family with 2 older gentlemen living with them. At this point, we don't know if Francis is the younger man or one of the older men. The older men may be elderly relatives or even one or both of the fathers of the young couple. This is something to keep in mind and keep following up on. Inexperienced researchers often find this census listing Alexander Smith Sr. and Philip Smith Sr., and then, without other research, go to Family Search and add an Alexander Smith Jr. to Alexander Smith Sr.'s family and a Philip Smith Jr. to Philip Smith Sr.'s family. When you look at other sources and combine them all, you realize that neither man had children named after themselves. The designation of junior and senior were often used to differentiate men of the same name living in the same area. So beware. When you pay close attention to the details and then reason things out, sometimes you can discover amazing information. 3 minor children are recorded as living in the household of Adonijah Sanger in 1830. A male, 5 to 9, a young man, 10 to 14, a male, 40 to 49, probably Adonijah, a female, 5 to 9, and a female, 40 to 49, likely Adonijah's wife. The second page of the 1830 census asks if anyone in the household is deaf and dumb. These columns don't separate individuals by gender. We do know that one of the children aged 5 to 9 is deaf and dumb, but we can't determine if it's the boy or the girl. We do know the young man aged 10 to 14 is deaf and dumb. He is recorded in the 14 to 24 age range of individuals with hearing disabilities. If we graph the information provided on the census, we can see an overlap in the age ranges, indicating the young man with a hearing disability is likely 14 years old. He was probably born in 1816. Massachusetts began keeping good vital records early in its history. A search of the town clerk records on Family Search provides a birth record of a Louis Hervey Sanger, son of Adonijah and Lucy Sanger, in 1816, absolutely consistent with what we found by analyzing that 1830 census. Using a worksheet like this one can be extremely helpful in narrowing the age range of individuals in census records. As an example, let's say you found an individual in 4 censuses with the age ranges listed here on the screen. A good researcher always moves from the known to the unknown, which is usually back in time. When we highlight the age range of 50 to 59 on the 1830 census on this worksheet, we can see that the individual was probably born between 1771 and 1780. A 10-year span isn't bad, but let's see if we can narrow it more. When we highlight the 1820 age range of 26 to 44, the two columns overlap and we can narrow the individual's birth to a 5-year window between 1775 and 1780. Highlighting the additional age ranges consistently shows that this individual was born between 1775 and 1780. Neat trick, huh? Here's how I help identify household members and differentiate between two households. This is Philip Smith Jr. and his neighbor, Philip Smith. So which Philip Smith is my ancestor? First, we begin by abstracting the information from both pages onto a blank census sheet. In this example, nothing of value was found on the second page, so I didn't put it on the screen. Using information about each household from the 1850 U.S. Census and the 1860 U.S. Census, we can mark each individual off and clearly see which family is which. I've also identified a possible male child who may not have survived to adulthood. Thanks for joining us today. We hope we've changed your mind about how valuable these early United States Census records are. Hopefully, you'll revisit your ancestors in these early census records and see if there are any clues that you've overlooked. Did you know the BYU Family History Library provides one-on-one assistance, Sunday classes, and YouTube videos on a wide variety of family history topics? Visit our homepage to find out more. Have a great day.